Right, welcome to this Warhammer 40,000 battle report. Today, High Fleet Orca has come to take on Josh's Necrons. Josh has elected some new tactics, and you'll see when we go through the armies, but this is today's board. We've got some big chunks of dead trees left, a few rocks, 2 ruins that have been left over, and lots of overgrown vegetation. The Tyranids have come to eat everything. So the mission is Dawn of War, Cleanse and Control, and the deployment is going to be Dawn of War. We have the 6 objectives. Number 6, number 5, number 4 is here, number 3 is round the side, number 2, and number 1 is there. So that is the table. We will now take you through the armies for today's mission. Right, so this is High Fleet Orca. I'm going to try and talk through it. I'm using Battle Scribe and some notes here due to this being the first game. So the Warlord is a Hive Tyrant with wings, with 2 sets of Twin-Linked Devourers and Brainleech Worms. That's it for him. His psychic powers were Psychic Scream and Onslaught, and his Warlord trait is rolled on Tactical. I can choose to discard all the cards in turn 1 and redraw. For elites, we then have 2 single Venom Thropes and a single Zone Thrope. The Zone Thrope has Catalyst and Warp Blast. For troops, we have a 30 Gaunt squad. 20 of them have Devourers, 10 of them, although they are Spine Fists, they are actually Flesh Borers. And they all have the one that gives them poison. I can't remember now.
Toxin Sacks.
Toxin Sacks, that's the one. And 20 of them have Devourers. The other troops' choice to go with them is the Hormigants. There's 20 there. They also have Toxin Sacks. The other troop squad is the Warrior Brood. We have 2 with Death Spitters and 1 with a Barbed Strangler. I had a few points left over, so I went for Rending Claws on them. I then have the Tervagon. Because I took 30 Gaunts, I was able to take the Tervagon. The Tervagon has nothing, just stock, and her powers were Psychic Scream. That was it for the troops' choice. For fast attack, we have took 10 Gargoyles, nothing else with them, just standard. And for heavy support, over the other side, we have the Trigon Prime. He has got Adrenal Glands. Yep. We then have a Tyrannifex, which has Shredder Shard Beetles and a Rupture Cannon. Yep, that's it for the Tyrannifex. And then we have a brood of 2 Carnifex. Each of them have 2 sets of Twin-Linked Devourers with Brainleech Worms. They've both got Bioplasma, and they've both got Acid Blood. I figured Josh is going to be trying to cut them down, so with his initiative 2, let's see what happens. I've got a few extra Gaunts for spawning as well, so we'll see what happens, but we'll now move on to Josh's Necrons.
So as Harry said, I'm trying some new tactics. I tried to out-horde that horde with this. I think I succeeded. I have my usual Warlord, if this focuses. He is with his usual 5 Lich Guard. They're joined today by a Cryptek. I have 3 units of 20 Warriors, each of which has a Cryptek. I have 2 units of Destroyers, as I usually run them. 3 of them, 1 of them is a heavy. Squad of 6 Scarabs, and then Flayed Ones. Have not taken these in a very long time. Last time they hit the table, they wrecked a Wave Serpent, so I'm hoping for something similarly fancy today. Yes, I do have 7 HQ models on the board, running a Combat Announce Attachment and a Royal Court formation.
Right, so here is deployment. We've rolled and it is night fighting. Tyranids got to deploy first. So we've got a combat focused flank here with the Trigon and the two Carnifex. The Tyranid here getting some cover from the trees and the gargoyles with the venom throw up there. And we've got the Trigon Tervagon behind the gargoyles to get cover if needed. Meanwhile, we've got all of these gaunts here, the swarm of 30 with the flesh borers at the front, and the venom throw up giving them their cover, as well as the warriors and the Hormigans looking for a fast flank on this side, supported by the Flyrant. Meanwhile, on Josh's side, we've got Lichguard and Flayed Ones there. I think that's Josh's combat flank. We've got Scarabs up this side, and then we've got warriors. We've got some more warriors. We've got some destroyers, and then we've got more warriors. So I've elected to go second. I don't want to get within rapid fire range of Josh, and I think I know what he's going to do. He's probably going to end up just sitting back and waiting for me to come to him, but I've elected to go second. Right, so Josh's cards are Secure Objective 2, Behind Enemy Lines, and Kingslayer. Right, so there's Objective 2, right in front of the Tyranid Horde, and obviously there's my Warlord. So, I don't think Josh will be getting them this turn, but we'll see what he does. He has done his movement. The Scarabs have all ran forward over this side. The Flayed Ones and the Lich Guard have pulled forward. The Warriors have shuffled forward to get a lot of them out of line of sight behind that terrain here. The Destroyers have jumped up here and past the dangerous terrain. These guys looking to get a few shots across there maybe, and this Warrior Horde has pulled forwards, maybe hoping to get that card next turn, but expecting the Carnifexes to come bursting through there. So that's it for the the movement phase. We'll now move on to Josh's shooting, see what he can shoot down. Right, so in the shooting phase, these guys here shot through under the trees and stripped a wound off the Trigon, despite him having a 4-up cover. That's a 5-up because of the trees and the rocks, and stealth for night fighting. Stripped a wound off him, unfortunately. This Carnifex lost a wound due to them destroyers there coming straight through, and despite the venom throw up also being there and them getting a 2-up cover, he actually rolled a 1 on 3 wounds that were caused, so this Carnifex is down to 3. The warriors here shot straight through at these guys, the gargoyles, and only inflicted 1 wound, and I had a 4-up cover which I passed. Josh has called that his turn, and he discarded Behind Enemy Lines. So we'll now move on to Tyranids, turn 1. Right, so I've drew Secure Objective 6, Psychological Warfare, and 3. 3's on my side, 6 is on Josh's. Psychological Warfare against the Necron. Yeah. Right, so I chose to use my Warlord trait and burn all the cards, and I ended up drawing Secure 5, Behind Enemy Lines, and Domination. So that Warlord trait has cost me, but never mind. We'll now move on to the movement. Right, so the Trigon Prime here got a pull move through cover. He only moved 3 inches just out of there. The Carnifexes have pulled forward with the Tyranifex. The Venom Throw-Up has come sideways just to give them all cover. The Zone Throw-Up hugging the trees. And the Tervagon has pulled forward as well. I need to spawn with him or her. Gargoyles have all pulled over here. I need to roll their dangerous terrains. And the Gaunts have moved forward the full 6. I've put the Gargoyles there to try and prevent any charges if I can. So yeah, the Warriors and the Venom Throw-Up have pulled up behind them. And the Hormigans on this side only got a 4-inch move through cover. I was hoping to be able to get the jump on the Scarabs. It's a 9-inch charge, I've already measured it, so we'll have to see what happens there. That's it for the movement. Like I said, I just need to roll their dangerous trains, and then we'll move on to the Psychic. Right, so down there I lost 2 Gargoyles to the difficult terrain test I took. The Tervagon spawned 9 Gaunts and she didn't double out. Meanwhile down here In the psychic phase, I rolled a 5, so that give me 10 dice. The Zoanthrope cast Catalyst on the Carnifexes, so they now I feel no pain. He tried to cast Warp Blast over here, but I failed on 3 dice. And then the Flying cast Onslaught onto the Carnifexes as well. He did Peril, but I passed my leadership test, so they have Onslaught and Catalyst. So we'll now move on to the shooting phase. Right, so down here the Trigon ran. He ran 1 inch but fleeted it for a 2. So he wants to stay back for some reason. Carnifex, despite having Onslaught, only got a 1 inch run, which just got them both within range of the destroyers that were up here. And those guys managed to kill 2 of them. The Tyrant then managed to take a single wound off him despite getting 6 wounds. And the Rupture Cannon from the Tyranifex shot down as well. Caused a single wound, which Josh passed his armor save. These gaunts that are here shot through at these warriors, caused a single wound, which Josh saved as well. All of the gaunts here, all the Devourers, shot down at the flayed ones, killed 1 of them and the Cryptek. The Lord, sorry. The Barbed Strangler tried to shoot down as well, but scattered wildly over here into the open. And the Flesh Borers from these guys shot at them, not causing any wounds. Both the squads, the Destroyers and the Flayed ones, have passed their leadership checks. And that is it for the shooting phase. I do have an assault to make. These guys are going to charge at the Scarabs if they can make it in. So we'll come back and see what happens with that. Right, so in the combat down here, the Hormigans made it in. Unfortunately, due to going through cover that went last, Josh managed to kill 13 of them. Sorry, 7. 13 hit back, and I got quite a good number of wounds. Obviously, the Scarabs are fearless, so there's 4 wounds worth of Scarabs left there now, and 13 Hormigans. Obviously, we're both fearless, so that's locked up. At the end of my turn, I don't score any points though, so we'll now move on to Necrons. Turn 2. Right, so Josh drew secure objective 5 as he discarded behind enemy lines last turn. So let's have a look at his movement. Right, so these destroyers have jumped down off the rocks that passed all the dangerous terrain, looking to shoot some monstrous creatures. Meanwhile over here, these guys have all shuffled up, looking probably to take the Trigon on through that gap there. These warriors here have all just shuffled up, looking to secure their objective, and these ones probably shoot down those gaunts over here. The Lich Guard, I'm guessing, are going for one of them, but we'll see what happens with that. Meanwhile back here, these warriors have all pulled forward as well. The flayed ones are running forward, probably looking to either charge in, take out the rest of the Hormigans, or possibly the Gargoyles, depending on what happens with the shooting. So we'll move on to Josh's shooting phase and see what damage he's going to do. Right, so in Josh's shooting phase, most of these warriors, apart from those few guys at this side, shot through the fallen tree at the Trigon and didn't do any wounds. He passed his saves. Meanwhile over here, this lone destroyer shot all the way through, and despite a 3-up cover, insta-killed the Venom Thrope that was there. These guys with the Staff of Light and the Lord's Flamer took out most of the gaunts there, apart from 2 of them. The other destroyers here hurtled some shots down at these Carnifexes and caused 2 wounds. I passed 1 of the cover saves from the Venom Thrope and failed to feel no pain, so the lead Carnifex is on 3 wounds as well. Meanwhile over here, these warriors shot down and killed all but the 1 gargoyle that was out of line of sight. Those warriors took pot shots at the Zoanthrope, inflicted 3 wounds, and he passed all 3 of his invuns. We're now on to the assault phase. We need to work that out, and Josh is going to declare some charges, so we'll come back after we've worked that out.
Okay, so these flayed ones just decided to charge that massive blob. And that is Overwatch.
That is
Let's go, Harry.
60 dice, 20 Devourers, 10 Flesh Borers, And I've got big hands and this is a lot. Wow! That is some stock of 6s, that.
Okay, so we've got 4 over here, 2 there.
4 there.
I'll just shift.
Force to wound.
Yep.
That many saves?
I'll pass that to you. So this is 4 up armor save and then 4 up reanimation. That's okay. 6 fails. Yikes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so that's a Cryptek on his own charging. Rip.
I don't think he can make the charge distance now.
He can actually. It's an 11-inch from him.
Right, we'll work that out and come back.
I'll just roll it.
Alright. Nope.
No.
7. Oh well. Right, so as you saw there, the flayed ones died to the Overwatch from the Gaunts. The Cryptek, it is a Cryptek.
Yep.
Didn't make it in. These guys decided to charge the 2 Gaunts just to try and get a bit closer, but they failed the charge unfortunately. The Destroyer here has jumped sideways with his jetpack move, and these guys have jumped back out the way. I think Josh knew what might be coming to him next. Meanwhile, in this combat, Hormigan's finally going first, caused 5 wounds, luckily, on the Scarabs, and they've consolidated 5 inches. I've come this way just to get me within synapse of the Warriors, as I want to try, possibly take some of those guys out. But we'll see. They'll probably get shot down in Overwatch the same way as the Crypteks did, so we'll see what happens. Right, as for scoring, Josh secured objective 5, which gives him 1 point. Just to mention as well, I got first blood last turn for killing the Lord that was with the flayed ones. Josh has elected to discard, secure objective 2. So at the end of Necron turn 2, the score is 2-2. Right, so at the beginning of Tyranid turn 2, we drew another secure objective 5. The Trigon, I forgot he had a gun last turn, has come this way to hopefully shoot down the Destroyer. We'll see what happens with that though. The Flying Hive Tyrant has come this way, so hopefully at least knock these guys off the objective for me to be able to get it. Meanwhile, a Lonely Gargoyle is going to try and take it if he gets a good enough run. Possibly the Carnifex, we'll have to see. Tyrannifex has pulled forward trying to block the charge lane for these guys to get to the Tervagon. The Venom Throat got a poor move through cover. He only got a 2-inch move, and the Tervagon spawned 13 Termagants. She didn't double out again, and they bubble wrap in the Zone Throat so that those Lich Guard can't charge him. These Gaunts have all pulled round the side, looking to get some shots down this way. However, the Hormigans still need to move. I still need to move them. I have done the Vector Strike actually before I've moved them, and I managed to kill one of the warriors down there. So we'll move the Hormigans and then we'll work out the Psychic phase. Right, so the Psychic phase, these guys got Catalyst from the Zone Throat just over here. They've also got Onslaught from the Tyrant. The Tyrant tried to cast Psychic Scream, but unfortunately didn't get it off on 2 dice. I was hoping to be able to take out possibly the Destroyers and some of these guys. And I then tried to cast Dominion on the single dice I had left, and I didn't get it, unfortunately. So that's the end of the Psychic phase. Just a note as well, these guys moved up here. So we will now move on to Shooting phase. Right, so the Shooting phase hasn't gone too badly. The Trigon Prime shot down at this guy, caused 2 wounds, and Josh passed his save. Meanwhile, the Onslaughted Carnifexes ran 6 inches and then could see 4 or 5 warriors, but they only killed 3. The Gargoyle amazingly got a 6-inch run, so all I have to do is get him off there. I elected not to shoot the Tyrant at him though, and you'll see why in a few moments. The Tyrant, however, did shoot down at the Destroyers and killed 1, and they passed their leadership. Down here, the Tyrannifex shot the Shredder Shard beetles. Did he kill one?
Yeah, he killed one.
And then the rupture cannon actually killed another one. The gaunts that were back here killed one of the warriors. The warriors, Tyranid warriors that are there, took out just one with a death spitter. The scattered with the barbed strangler, and Josh passed the leadership test for the pinning. Meanwhile, all of these gaunts, despite a few of them from the back here not being able to see at all, took out the Cryptek and two Lich Guard, which takes them down to 2 models, and they've passed the leadership test as well. So I've got a couple of assaults that I want to do first, but yeah, we'll come back to you after the assault phase. Right, so these Carnifex, I decided to declare the charge at the warriors first, hoping they would eat the Overwatch up and fail the charge. They did fail the charge, but Josh elected not to Overwatch. So yeah. Meanwhile, over here, the Gaunts charged in. They lost 3 altogether to Overwatch. And they didn't kill any warriors in combat at all. Josh killed 4 of them back, so there's 6 of them still standing, and they are just within 12 inches of the Zoanthrope. Meanwhile, down here, the Tyrannifex charged and rolled a double 1. And back there, the Gaunts charged and rolled a double 2. So nobody made it into combat with them. That does, however, score me objective 5 twice. And the fly ring gets me behind enemy lines. That scores me 3 points. That puts the score at 4-1 to Tyranids. So we'll now move on to Necrons turn 3. Right, so Josh still has Kingslayer, Domination, and he's drew no prisoners. So we'll move on to Necron's movement of turn 3. Right, so Josh's movement phase, he's moved all these warriors forward this way, looking to either get shots in on the Trigon or the Carnifex. The destroyers have pulled forward. I think that Gargoyle's going to get eviscerated next. These warriors over here have all moved forward, and the Lone Cryptek is probably going to be looking to take out some of these guys. Nice. Down here, the Lich Guard and the Lord have separated. I think the Lord is probably going to have to go for the Tyrannifex. It was a good move by me blocking him to get through there. The Zoanthrope and gone so low they could die to the Flamer. Josh wouldn't have been able to charge them. So that's it for the movement phase. We'll now move on to shooting. Right, so shooting phase for the Necrons has been pretty good. Josh has gone to try and kill at least 5 units so they can get no prisoners. These 2 guys eviscerated the Gargoyle. These warriors here, wow, rapid fired, scored about 8 wounds on him, and I failed 4 saves. He is on 1 wound left. This destroyer did exactly what he did with the Venom Throat last turn, shot all the way through these and popped the Zoanthrope there. I'm going to call him Dave the Drunken Destroyer because he's got 1 arm. So say hello to the camera, Dave.
Hello.
Right, rest of the shooting, what happened? The Cryptek down here that detached from the squad shot up at the Flyrant. He is on the rock, but he's a wobbly model, so yeah. Meanwhile, over here, these warriors shot down and killed 13 Termagants. The Venom Thrope, due to getting crap moves last turns all the way back there, not doing a thing. So I lost 13 of them. So I think Josh is going to do some charges now. Actually, he shot the Flamer at targeting the Tyrannifex and took out some of the Gaunts with it as well. So I think he's going to charge him at those 2 to get the 3 units destroyed, and this assault here. So we'll see what happens. Right, so in the assault phase, this guy, Dave the Destroyer, has jumped back behind the Gaunts. Warriors. These guys have moved back 2 inches. In the assault phase, these guys cut down the rest of the Hormigans, unfortunately. Josh has just consolidated back 6 inches there. This Cryptek, Lich Guard, I will learn them, wiped out the 2 warriors,
Gaunts.
Termagants. This guy, War Scythed the Tyrannifex death, nearly. He's down to 3 wounds. The Tyranids only scored 1 wound back and Josh passed his invuln. Down here, the Lich Guard charged in.
That's the Cryptek.
Cryptek.
You'll get there eventually.
Yeah, he charged in despite getting a shit ton of hits and wounds. Passed all of his saves and invulns. Reanimations even. Yeah, even got a few attacks back. Caused a couple of wounds. Passed his saves and invulns again. So, that's tied the gaunts up. I think Josh didn't like the fire that was coming from them.
I just like the fact that now your Tesco can't move.
Yeah, true. But yeah, 51 shots on Overwatch. So that was pretty nasty. So that is the end of the Necrons turn 3. Josh scored no prisoners. He killed the gargoyle that was there. He killed the gaunt here, the gaunt there, and the zoanthrope. So that's 4, so that's D3, 4, 2 points. So we'll now move on to Tyranids, turn 3. Right, so Tyranid turn 3, I drew Ascendancy, Secure 1, and Kingslayer. Moving phase, the Trigon is hugging the trees. He is within 3 inches of that. The Carnifexes are pulled forward. They are on that objective if I have to. I've got a lot of options here. I've elected to keep the Flyrant on the board. I'm possibly going to Vector Strike or shoot that guy there.
Why is he drunk again?
He's drunk again. Depending on how the shooting and the Vector Strike goes in the rest of the Psychic phase actually, the Trigon can shoot at either them. I need to get 1 warrior off that to get me objective 5 if I need to. Over here, these gaunts are pulled forward, possibly looking to charge at the guy, Warlord there, hopefully try and take him out. I'm not counting on it, but we'll see what happens. The Venom Thrope has pulled forward to grant all of these guys cover. The Tervagon has moved to secure the objective that's under there, and she spawned 8 babies and still did not roll a double. The Warriors have pulled around the side. Now I elected, I'll say that again. Decided I'm not going to shoot them at another squad. I need rid of that Cryptek there. So I'm going to try and get them in. They've got Rending Claws, so I'm hoping that they can help the Termagants out. And yeah, that will free them up for a bit of shooting next turn. That's it. I'm running out of models fast. So yeah, we'll now move on to the Psychic phase. Right, so Psychic phase, the Flyrant cast Psychic Scream. He did not Vector Strike, and he managed to take out Dave the Destroyer. Josh rolled a 9, but obviously you're adding 2 due to Psychic Scream, and failed his reanimation, unfortunately. I also cast Psychic Scream down here with the Tervagon, and the Cryptek also rolled a 9, so he's took a wound as he failed his reanimation as well. If he's taken a wound, I'm tempted to just leave the Gaunts to deal with him and fire the Warriors elsewhere. Yeah, I'm not sure about that yet. We'll do the rest of the shooting phase and then see what I decide to do. Right, so shooting phase. The Flyrant managed to take out one of the Destroyers, the heavy one, so he is gone. They passed the leadership test. These Carnifexes shot through at the Warriors and Josh lost 5 of them. And the Cryptek took a wound. What else did I do? Down here I elected to shoot the Warriors at these, hoping to cause some casualties. I caused 2 wounds with the Death Spitters and Josh passed his saves. Meanwhile the Barbed Strangler yet again scattered wildly over there.
I told you to take a Venom Cannon.
Yep. Yeah, so that is it. Oh, actually the Trigon shot through at the Warriors here as well. Getting some... Did bot all, yeah. So, assault phase. These guys are going to charge in. They want rid of him. And hopefully, the Termagants will take his last wound off. We'll see what happens. Right, so in combat, the Overlord chopped another wound off the Tyrannifex. And in turn, the Gaunts and the Tyrannifex did no wounds back. Meanwhile, down here, the Gaunts did amazing. They got about 8 wounds on him. Passed all but 3 of his saves, and then Josh rolled 3 force for reanimation. So that was brutal, but the Cryptek stands on 1 wound. So I score Secure Objective 1 and Ascendancy for controlling 1, 2, 3, I've actually got 4 objectives. There's one under there as well, which these guys are within of. So as the score stands, it's 4-3 to the Tyranids. That gives me 5-3 plus D3 for ascendancy for another 3 points. So that gets me 4 points that turn. That is 8-3 to the Tyranids. Right, so Necron turn 4. Josh still has Kingslayer. He drew Reclaim and Recapture, and he has to roll. He rolled for the odds. And funnily enough, last turn he was just saying in order to win clearly, he's going to need Thrall of the Silent King and then draw Big Game Hunter. Well, guess what happened? Thrall of the Silent King and Big Game Hunter. His lord is already in combat with the Tyrannifex on 2 wounds. So I only hope that he kills him in my turn so he doesn't get the point, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so movement phase, all these warriors have filed forward, looking to probably rapid fire down at the Carnifexes, the Destroyer and the Lich Guard, looking to take the last wound off the Trigon here. Meanwhile, these warriors have also converged in on the Carnifexes, and over here, these ones have pulled forward with the remaining Lich Guard, take on the warriors down here. So we'll now move on to Necron shooting phase. Right, so shooting phase, the warriors and the Cryptek took out the Carnifex there on 2 wounds. They inflicted 4 wounds altogether, and I failed 2 saves unfortunately. Meanwhile, the Destroyer and the Cryptek fired at the Trigon, and he passed both of his saves from each wound inflicted from them. So Josh elected to shoot the hell out of these at him, and he only had to pass 3 saves and he failed 1 unfortunately, so that took him. Rest of the shooting phase, these guys here shot at the warriors, killed 2, and the last one is on 2 wounds. So that is it for shooting. We'll now move on to the assault phase. Right, so down here the Destroyer has done his jetpack moves and moved sideways, probably get a line in on the Carnifex next turn. In the assault phase, I inflicted 1 wound from the Tyrannifex on the Lord there, and he inflicted only 1 wound back on the Tyrannifex, so he does not get Thrall of the Silent King or Big Game Hunter. Meanwhile, over here, the Lich Guard charged in, killed 1 Gaunt. The Cryptek didn't kill anybody, and the Gaunts all attacked the Cryptek, hoping to get him to die. Unfortunately, he did not. So that is the end of the Necron's turn. Josh didn't score any points, and he's elected to discard Reclaim and Recapture. So we'll now move on to Tyranids, turn 4. Right, so I've drew secure objective 4 twice and secure objective 2 because I discarded Kingslayer last turn. So we'll see what I can do. Over here, the Flyrant has gone off the board. It wasn't really in a position where he's going to be able to do much besides drop the hover mode and then die to them. So the Carnifex has come forward this way. I'm looking to hopefully take on these warriors here. These Gaunts have shuffled sideways and the Venom Throat was pulled forward. And that was it. That's all I've got. She needs to spawn some more Gaunts. I'm going to leave the warrior where he is. I'm going to send him after the Cryptek there, I think. Yeah, I haven't got much left. So objective 4 is there. There's no way I'm going to be able to get to that. So we'll see what I can do with what little shooting and psychic I've got left. I think she's going to give a good old psychic scream. See if I can take out these 2 guys here. Right, so I've done the rest of my turn. Psychic phase, she cast out a massive psychic scream even. And unfortunately both of these guys passed their leadership check even with the +2. In the shooting phase, Carnifex took out 2 warriors, 3?
2 warriors. 2
warriors, charged into combat and killed 2. Josh unfortunately didn't cause any wounds back. Meanwhile in combat, the Overlord chopped down the Tyrannifex. The Tyrannifex did get a couple of wounds back, but Josh passed his saves. The Gaunts even got a wound or 2 in as well. In the combat over here, the warrior attacked, and despite getting a rend, the Cryptek still lives. The Lich Guard chopped down 1 Gaunt. The Gaunts and the Cryptek didn't cause any casualties. So, at the end of my turn, I score secure objective 2. And I'm going to discard 1 of objective 4. Right, so Josh drew secure objective 2, which is the one there, and which other ones?
That was it. I just had one.
Yeah, so he drew secure objective 2, which, yeah, he's going to have to clear all of that. Movement, he's moved and ran these. The Cryptek rejoined the unit. Down here, this destroyer has moved from here to there. Shot down at the gaunt in the past the 5-up cover save due to shrouded from the venom throw down here. In combat, Carnifex only dealt out 1 wound, and the Warriors inflicted 1 wound back. Josh was hoping to do 2, because if he beat me, I'd have to take a leadership test, and he could have swept me due to not having any synapse nearby. He will need to take a check at the start of my turn though. Meanwhile, down here, in combat, the Warrior finally took out the Cryptek, and the Gaunts finally took out the Lich Guard. In the shooting phase though, all of these Warriors unloaded everything into the Tervagon, and she dropped 2 wounds. The Cryptek did a couple of wounds, but I passed me 3-up cover save due to intervening models plus shrouded. So at the end of that turn, Josh didn't score anything, unfortunately. Actually, we need to work out this combat, but at best he's probably going to kill 3 Gaunts. We'll see what happens though, and I'll come back after we've done that combat. Right, so in this combat down here, the Overlord chopped up 2 of the Gaunts. Josh has elected to discard Kingslayer, so we'll now move on to Tyranids, turn 5. Right, so Tyranid turn 5, I drew secure objective 2, 3, and I've still got 4 from last turn. So, at the start of the Tyranid's turn, the Carnifex rolled a 5 for his leadership, so he didn't have to roll on the instinctive behaviour table. The Flyrant has come back on, moves the full 24 inches straight forward so he can shoot probably the Destroyer or the Warriors here. I need to point out as well the Tervagon last turn doubled out. She rolled 6 Gaunts last turn, which was those ones that spawned. So I think me and Josh had, how many was it? 33 Gaunts she spawned?
33 over the course of the game.
Over the course of the game. So doubling out in turn 4 wasn't bad at all. Meanwhile, over here, all the Gaunts have pulled forward, as well as the lone Tyranid warrior as well, looking to hopefully cut down some of these warriors here. The Venom Throw has pulled forward just to grant them all their cover save, and these Gaunts here are going to have a couple of pot shots down at him. So I've got a couple of things to do in the psychic phase, and then we'll move on to shooting. Right, so we have done the entire turn. These Gaunts here are securing objective 2, and they shot down at the Destroyer there and got quite a few wounds in. I think, what 4 wounds was it?
Something like that.
And he failed 2 of his saves and 2 of his reanimation protocols. The Flyrant came in, shot down at the Warriors here, took a couple of them out. I elected to Psychic Scream with both him and the Tervagon in the Psychic phase, and neither of them got it off, unfortunately. For the rest of the shooting, these Gaunts here, all of these Gaunts here, the Lone Warrior and the Tervagon all shot at the Necron Warriors. I took 6 down, but they passed the leadership test. The Tervagon charged in first, the Gaunts charged in, and the Warrior killed 1, the Gaunts didn't kill any, and the Tervagon killed 1. In turn, Josh killed 1 of the Gaunts, and he passed his leadership test. The only other thing, down here, the Lord chopped down another 3 Gaunts, and over there, the Carnifex killed, was it 2? I think it was 2 Warriors.
I got swept in, not that much.
Yeah, so the Carnifex beat the Warriors. Josh unfortunately failed his leadership. Both being initiative 2, came down to a dice off, and the Carnifex rolled a little bit higher. He consolidated 1 inch to keep within 12 inches of the Warlord, just with Synapse. It does get Line Breaker there though. I'm not sure what the score is at the end of the game, however, we have decided to call it there. It is a Tyranid victory. I've really enjoyed playing the Tyranids today. It's been a very enlightening experience. It's been enjoyable to play a different army. Facing off against Josh's pure rapid fire, mass firepower denying me armor saves on most things and wounding all the monstrous creatures on a 6. He took out a lot of them. So yeah, I've really enjoyed the game. If you play Tyranids, let me know what your thoughts are, what you want to see, and what would you change. But yeah, that's the end of the battle for today, guys. Thanks very much for watching.